Y'all ready to be history?
Get started.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
To the Pro Audio Suite.
These guys are professional. They're motivated.
Thanks to Tribooth, the best vocal booth for home or on-the-road voice recording. And Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Introducing Robert Marshall from Source Elements and Someone Audio Post, Chicago. Darren Robbo Robertson from Voodoo Radio Imaging, Sydney. Tech to the VO Stars, George the Tech Whittam from LA. And me, Andrew Peters, voiceover talent and home studio guy.
Line up, learner!
Here we go.
And welcome to another Pro Audio Suite. Thanks to Tribooth. Don't forget the code TRIPAP 200 to get $200 off your Tribooth. And Austrian Audio, making passion heard. Now, of course, it is officially Black Friday, and there's a few little deals going around the table in our little community. Who wants to kick off? George or Robert or Robbo?
I'm kicking it.
You're going, George.
Okay, George.
It's George.
So we, every year we like to offer some big discount, as we tend to do at this time of year. And so my idea this go round is we're going to offer our memberships, which you guys may not know we have, but we do have subscription memberships. And what we're going to do is if you sign up before the end of the day on Monday, that's the end of Cyber Monday, and you use the coupon code GTT50 off CM24 at checkout, you can probably figure out what that means, right? 50 off Cyber Monday 24. At checkout, you're going to get 50% off your entire year's membership. So whether you pay by the month or by the year, you're going to get 50% off the membership. And what does that entail exactly, right? Because what the heck is a membership? Well, we've decided to offer these memberships so we can include a whole slate of services that are included with each membership. And there's a few tiers available, starting with blue, steel, bronze, silver, and gold. And so if you come in on the blue steel level, it's normally $50 a month and $500 a year. You basically get 2 months free if you opt for an annual payment up front and save a little bit of money if you have the extra cash to spend. But you'll also still get 50% off of that. So you can get an entire year's worth of a Blue Steel membership for $250. And that includes my Virtual George front of the line priority service. So if you do purchase a service, you're going to get ahead of the line of others who are waiting for my response. Webinar library access, you can get up to 12 videos per year from our video library. You'll be able to come to our members Zoom with me twice a month. Answers access, where you can just ask questions anytime online, 2 per month. And sound checks, 2 per year. It's all included on the Blue Steel. Just the webinar library alone is worth a lot more.
I have one question on that, though. If I watch video, have I got to rewind it before I return
yes,
it?
You have to. Please be kind, rewind.
That's
anyway,
for all the old people.
I won't bore you
listening.
with what all the other memberships include, but you can check it out at georgethee.tech/member sign up. And that's where the page is, and you'll see the promotion and a list of all the things you can get part of that. Now, also, the memberships are limited to a certain number of people, because we want to make sure that, the membership club has enough attention from me specifically.
Yeah.
So there's only 50 of the Blue Steel, 20 bronze, 10 silver, and 5 gold total that we're going to offer. And most of the bronze memberships have been bought already. There's only 4 remaining.
There's only so much George to go around. So
There's
yeah.
so much to go around.
It goes blue, bronze, silver, gold.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what are the differences? Like if you just give like a sentence or two about each level. So like the blue, you said, is like you get 2 things, you get 12 videos, right?
Right. So blue,
Okay.
when you go to bronze, which is the most popular plan right now, you get all the Virtual George front of the line, unlimited webinar access. So anything we release throughout the year, you can review. Anything in the library at all, you can review. And there's, I actually have to count. I think I have over 50 videos now in the webinar library of tech training stuff.
Shitloads is the Aussie term for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the memberships, then what differentiates it really is you get more questions per month that you can ask, more sound checks, 4 per year. And then you also get 2 processing presets, which are usually $90 each. Everybody loves processing presets, especially engineers. Just kidding. And then scheduling, you can get scheduled Zoom calls, consulting with me privately twice a year. And you get 1 emergency instance of support per year on the bronze plan. So you get a lot more in the bronze plan. Yeah. So the silver just really ups the ante in terms of more of everything. So if you find that you want to have better access to more emergency support calls and just more access to me generally, that's where silver and then gold come in. Just depends on how busy you are, how much demand, and really maybe how complicated your studio is at the end of the day. So that's it. Thanks. And I hope you guys find that to be a good deal. Again, it's GTT 50 off CM24. Use that coupon code when you check out on the website, and that's at georgethe.tech/member sign up.
Very cool.
Beautiful.
Nice choice.
All right.
Choice.
Hey.
So what's happening with Source Elements, Robert?
So we have a Black Friday thing. What is it can be? So everything on the store has some sort of discount or something applied to it. Let's see. There's a upgrade for really old Nexus license holders. There's a Nexus first month free, which is the one that ends up being basically like 92% off the first month of Nexus, and then I think there's at least a 15% off the yearly, I believe. Then going over to Source Connect, there are $75 off, so no initial fee on any of the subscriptions. There's I think for the really old upgrades, if you have a super old license, it's 50% off the upgrade to 3.9. Then for 3.8, I think it's maybe 25%. And then we have a 15% off of an early upgrade from 3.9 to 4. So 25% from 3.8 to 3.9. And then the jumping off point from to 4 is from 3.9. So everyone has to get up to 3.9 to jump to 4. And then there's an early 15% off that for 4 for the year. I think that's everything.
It's pretty cool, though. Yeah.
So a typical sale.
Very nice.
So what's the code? Do you need the code?
It all depends. There's going to be basically an email that goes out, and then there'll be like a menu where you can click on it, and it'll just say like, click here for this item or click here for that item. And we try to do it so that we also aren't emailing people that don't have a license. That I think this year is going to be a little less programmatic like that. So you just kind of go through the menu and look. I know in the past we tried to just go like, well, you don't have Nexus, so here's your upgrade for Source Connect because the other thing doesn't apply to you.
Right. That's
what it's kind of hard to like segment everything
Very
like
hard.
that. It takes a lot of,
Yeah. Well, particularly if someone's got both, then
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just the mailing
Nice.
side of it alone, setting up the system to send out those custom emails that only go to the right people is quite a process. Something I'm actually working on myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
I'm doing some email joy at the moment.
segmentation. At least that's what we call it.
Yeah.
I just send text messages to the wrong people and they keep
That's because you're old, though. That's why. That's the problem
exactly.
there.
Yeah,
Do you
could be.
send text messages that say, "Hi, how have you been?" Or
Yeah.
"Didn't we meet last week at dinner?"
Yeah.
Something like
That's
that.
right.
No, I just actually sent a text to our cleaner saying you should come and check it out, and then she came back with 4 question marks. Like, I went, sorry, that was meant for Somerset when we were talking about Source Connect 4.
I thought you were going to say it was meant for Meg, and I was going to say, what's the
You should
picture that
come and
went
check
with
it out.
Yeah. Anyway, there
I'll see you tomorrow morning then.
That's when you reply back with a dick pic.
Oh no!
Indeed.
Ask Arnold Schwarzenegger how that turned out.
I know.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Robbo, you got a bit of a Black Friday
I'm going to
deal?
dip my toe in the Black Friday pool too. I'm going to offer 15% off your next demo, and that's for anybody here in Oz or in the US. So yeah,
or anywhere
for that matter. So yeah, I'm just going. It's not a difficult code to remember. Just Black 15, but you don't have to book the demo today or Black Friday, but what you have to do is book I do a free chat session before you book your demo. So if you book your free chat in the next 24 hours and you go on to book your demo, you'll get 15% off. So, yeah.
Lovely. Nice. And what's the code again?
Black 15. Only because I couldn't think of anything else on the spur of the moment.
It sounds a bit Vegas. Maybe I should put my money on Black 15.
How do you do the demos? Do you do it like by session and then like a mix?
It's just a flat out fee. So, and it's a bit of a process. So I do a chat where and this is the same for what Andrew and I were doing, was we do a chat first and sort of get an idea of what you want from your demo and what sort of demo you want to do. And then I write some scripts and the client gets those back to have a look at. And then we do a session number 1, which is where we go through each script one by one, obviously, and put it all down. And then I go away and I do a rough mix on those and a rough edit. The client gets those back to have a listen to, and then we do session 2, and we go through the process of listening to each one. I share my Pro Tools screen through Nexus, and they get to see the Pro Tools screen, and sort of we work through script by script and do pickups and rewrites and all the rest of it there, and then final mixes and a bunch of WAV files and MP3 files later, your demo's done. So
2 records and with it two sort of mixes.
2 records, 2 mixes, and all your scripts as well, and all
master,
the scripts as well.
And all the scripts too.
That's right. So so it's a bit of a process, but it's a good one, and it's got some really good rewards. In fact, I can tell you, and I can say here first, that a client of mine, Katerina Surtees, who's over in Perth, was just picked up by. Now I'm going to get the name of this wrong. See if I can find it quickly. Let me just jump onto my. There's a women in promos movement that's trying to get more women on promo voiceovers, and
cool.
What they had to do was artists had to submit their demos to be considered, and there's been only one person selected in each country or each continent. So there was Australia, the United States, United Kingdom, and a couple of others. There's about 5. South Africa was another one. There's about 5 or 6 places all around the world. Anyway, her demo that I produced for her got her chosen as the Australian representative for women in promos. So yeah, against.
Well, touch you then. That's very good.
So she's done really well for herself. Matt Calrick is another Voodoo Sound voiceover demo recipient. So yeah, well, he got work with Scout with that, right? He's actually just got on with Andrew's agent here. I mean, I can't claim that Matt Calrick's magic was completely concocted by my demo, but I'd sort of like to hope it helped. So yeah.
Who's the biggest like global demo mill, do you think?
Oh, it'd have to be what's his name
Is it J. Michael? Or
I'd say Chuck.
Yeah, it'd have to be Chuck, surely.
Is it Chuck?
I would have thought so.
Yeah, probably.
George, what do you think?
I mean,
like worldwide, the biggest demo mill worldwide.
Well, okay. The word mill definitely has a negative connotation to it.
I apologize. Okay, so let's start over. So we don't say that.
From that, I will comment.
Sorry. Who's
the most prolific demo producer around the world?
Yeah. Who's like the biggest demo producers in the world as far as like, because there's.
I don't know how
Chuck
we could know that. I mean, we certainly know who are the most well known. That's for sure. I mean, that have been around the longest, marketing themselves as doing those things. The longest, demos that rock. Chuck Duran's a big one, of course.
Chuck Duran.
Yeah.
Nancy Wolfson.
J. Michael, right?
Nancy Wolfson's been doing a really long time. J. Michael Collins. I mean, Nancy's the centerfold of every single voiceover resource guide, that they put in all the studios in the US.
Yeah.
The Vorg.
She buys the center, the centerfold of that every single time, because she just wants to be remembered. And, it's like, what's tough out there when you are one of the OGs, you've been doing it a really long time, and there's so many other, production companies coming up. You have to you have to stay on top of mind,
And how much do those like, I know that some of those demos are like $3,000 or more.
Yeah, I've heard of more than $3,000.
That's a lot of money for a demo.
A demo. Yeah. It seems that the numbers I hear bantered about tend to be between 2,000 and 3,000.
But to be fair, I mean, having been doing this now for about 18 months, there's a shitload of work that goes into a good demo. I mean, you can pay, if you want to pay $200, $300 for a demo, you're not getting scripts written for you. And you're certainly not getting an hour dedicated before you even start the whole process. So the person who's doing your demo can understand more about you and what you're good at and what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are and make a few suggestions. And
Robbo, check this out. So I was gonna tell everyone this when you were like digging through your email or stuff. So I just did that demo for Sage, right?
Yep.
And how did I come up with the scripts? I just listened to other voiceover demos and I ripped them. Okay.
Be careful.
So then today I'm like, I'm going to go over to this site and be like, email them, be like, here's Sage's demo. Like, just try to get an intro. And I play the first, and I mean the goddamn first item on the list.
Coca-Cola?
And it's like some new thing. And it is the last, is word for word the last thing on Sage's demo.
Whoops. Yeah.
Ew.
So it's funny. And it's like that whole thing about custom scripts.
You got to be careful.
Because
you do.
And then there's searching out music and all of it. Yeah. It's not, there is a ton to it. Absolutely. But even that at these rates, I mean, it's like I would, and I you can cut this out entirely, but I would imagine you're not doing like, $3,000 plus per demo or at the same rate that those.
I'm not doing it. I'm not charging that.
I'd imagine that you got like.
No, that's right. And look, I mean, that, who knows, with time I might be able to, but for now, I'm paying myself a comfortable amount that sort of justifies my time and sort of still encourages people to sort of give me a go.
I'll tell you another reason why. I'm pretty sure with all of those guys, they are hiring engineers and they are hiring other people to do the demos.
Yeah, Chuck does his own.
At some level.
Yeah. No, Chuck's an engineer.
Chuck does it?
Yeah, Chuck engineers his own.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, but not everybody. There's a lot of coaches who do not.
Yeah, I thought a lot. I mean, I certainly worked at a place where there was like, people producing it, and it was more of like a staffed up thing where they had someone who was producing the sessions, and an engineer for all of them.
My friend, Rick Wasserman, he produces demos through Bookable, and then he has Greg Chun produce do the production, like the music, the mix. Right. So it's oftentimes a team. In case of Chuck,
and then in that case, you can see why the price goes up.
Chuck is the engineer, producer. I'm not sure what hats he's wearing, but certainly engineer. And then Stacy writes the scripts. Yeah. That's how they work together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. So here, Robbo's like, I am 4 people.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to do,
what you got to do to get started. You can't hire everything out when you're just getting started off, launching a business. If you pay out for everybody, it takes a really long time.
You know what I've found though is the biggest thing to making a demo for somebody else. The most important thing is actually just listening.
Yeah,
yeah.
If all the other skills aside, it's actually that first hour that I spend just in a Google meeting with a client is the most important hour of the whole process, because unless you understand what they're trying to get out of it and you have an understanding of what their strengths are as a voiceover artist and what their weaknesses are and maybe understanding of sort of where they want to go and what they want to do, then it's just you're making a demo that's really not going to do anything for them except make some noise. That's the most important thing, I reckon. And that's obviously what these guys I think like Chuck and Jay and all that get right as well,
Yeah, but it's interesting. If you don't understand the person right from the get-go, you're going to end up with a demo that is not going to be indicative of what your talent can do.
Exactly.
And you're probably selling them to the wrong audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
You find the strengths that they've got, and that's what you work on.
And the sort of the thing where I'm lucky is working with some big agencies here in Australia and global agencies is I get to see where the trends are in terms of where voiceover's going, and so I can incorporate that into demos if that's going to assist someone, in terms of styles and different ways of reads and all that sort of stuff too. So that's helpful.
But here's the thing: like who needs a demo? Because I've seen, for example, someone at Andrew's level who's like, I I'm too close to it and I don't have the time and I'm not as good as this. So here's a whole bunch of spots I worked on and make me a demo. It needs to be a minute and a half long or whatever. And they're paying for that, but really they're not paying to create the material because they just have a book of work.
Yeah.
That already, it's just for real. So that's one level of making a demo. And then the next one is, you're trying to get into a new line of business, like whatever you want to do, like, promos instead of just commercials. And you don't have the material and you don't necessarily have the skills or, again, the perspective to make your own demo, but you're already like a seasoned voice talent. You're just making a new genre. And then I guess the last one is someone who's just coming in fresh, which really, they're just going to do a general demo, like a couple spots with a PSA in the middle of it or something,
Can I play you something talking about people coming in new? And this is a bit of shameless self-promotion, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I did a voiceover demo for a gentleman lately who's been an actor on stage all his life. He's in his
I love seeing you do this too, because you're going to chuck it in the timeline.
He's in his 60s.
Right ahead of the playhead.
I
right?
am, but I've got to go find it. So give me a second.
Right.
But he came to me and he said, "Look, I've got a new acting agent, and my acting agent suggested that I get into voiceover." And my first thing was like, "Oh shit, one of these." everybody's a voiceover artist, right? But can I just say, this guy and his ability to take direction was absolutely incredible. Like, he's not a polished voiceover artist, and certainly doesn't have all the skills that a voice artist needs.
Is he an actor?
He's an actor.
Yeah.
He's an actor, right? Absolutely.
He is an actor. Well, there you go.
And he's a lovely guy, and he listened to everything I had to say, and he didn't take offense when I sort of went, "Look, there's a big difference between acting and voiceover," and he sort of listened to what I had to say, and he came out with this most amazing set of script, or when of reads on the scripts that I'd written for him. I'm just trying to find it at the same time. He was incredible. He was just amazing. And just here we go, if I can find him.
I think with most people, when they're getting into it, is trying to get them to be really dynamic in a session. Usually they get in a rut and they read it exactly the same a whole bunch of times. And you're like, change it up and do stuff and whatever. It's like, it never goes beyond this room. If it's like weird and funny sounding, it just doesn't matter. And go out on a limb. And then once you get someone out there and they're loosened up, then all of a sudden it's funny looking back. You're like, oh yeah, that one crazy take was the perfect thing for the end of it.
I've had people come here, like during COVID, I've had, voice actors come over to use the studio because they can't get into town because of the COVID pandemic. And I'm not going to mention any names, of course, but I remember one session I was sitting here actually monitoring because it was down the line on Source Connect. And it's one of those things where the last line, can you just give us 3 takes of that last, the tag or whatever? It's like, okay. And the three takes of that tag were all exactly the same.
Oh, really?
And I'm thinking,
useless.
What? Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, useless. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think.
Is another thing that I've heard from casting directors, like when you're producing a demo, is to try to avoid the really major brands?
Yeah.
That's what I've heard as well.
Well, I kind of tend to disagree, but,
This is a debatable.
Yeah.
This is
There's a bunch of reasons I disagree with that, but I think it's got to be.
I don't think anybody is saying that that's something that you did, and I certainly, when I was trying to start out, did all kinds of cuts and overcuts of stuff that other people did.
It's got to be believable. If you're going to do a spot for Qantas or McDonald's, it's got to be believable. That it's got to make someone who's listening going, "Shit, did they do that or didn't they?" You know what I mean? Like if someone's at a level where they could easily pull off a McDonald's script, why not? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think this was in the context of like some big market agencies.
Yeah,
I think,
and then they're going to listen to your spot and go, "Yeah, I know that campaign. He's not on that campaign."
I think the biggest problem was with that. The reason because I know I was told not to do that for this one reason, and the reason is if someone hears your demo. And it's a product that's, competing product.
Competing.
And you're reading a Chevy ad,
that.
and someone from Ford wants to book you, and they hear this thing. It's like, what? He's doing Chevy? No, you're out. That's an issue.
Yeah.
That's an interesting reason.
That's a very big difference between a demo and a reel.
Yeah,
where
exactly.
a reel would be an assembly.
Yeah, that is
of
the
your best.
difference between a demo and a reel.
Yeah.
Well, on another tip, another thing, I got interviewed by Mark Scott. He has a podcast called Everyday VOpreneur.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty popular podcast. And his big thing is marketing. But he brought me on for his annual holiday, season episode.
Oh yeah.
And so I was the guest of the year. And so it was all about, what things I recommend to buy for your studio. And he had me on for a solid hour at least. And so we covered everything. Of course, we talked about Passport. Of course, we talked about Tribooth. We talked about some of our favorite things that we've worked on. But I covered everything from a $99 mic all the way up to, everything in between, up to a voiceover booth, So if anybody's interested in hearing my thoughts on a huge array of different categories of audio and gear and everything, check that out. That was released on the 21st.
I might even listen to that. There you go.
I had another funny interview. So I was on my way from a client's home back to home. And I get a text from Ann Ganguza, who was interviewing me. And she's like, hey, just checking in. And I'm driving and I'm like, oh, okay, nice. And then she's like, what about our interview right now? What are you doing? Are we doing the interview? And I was like, oh no. So I was so hungry. I was starving and I had to do this interview and I didn't want to blow her off and reschedule. She had scheduled it weeks out, So I pulled into a Chili's restaurant, which is just like a Denny's or nothing special. And I found the quietest spot in the restaurant. We recorded the whole interview while I literally ate lunch. So when she was talking, I was eating my burger, that she was talking, right? So, and then I happened to have my headset mic with the little boom on it. So it got decent audio, but she used the Riverside FM, audio cleanup thing that just gets rid of all the background noise. You listen to it, you would not know I'm sitting in a restaurant.
Yeah, right.
How did you manage to get the burger past the microphone?
Exactly.
That's my question.
And what about when you slurp the bottom of your milkshake? You get the at the bottom of your milkshake. How'd you hide that one?
Well, that's the thing. So she posted a 1 minute, clip, a reel on Instagram. And it's one of those top and bottom videos. And she's on the top and she's talking away for a solid minute. What am I doing in the bottom frame? Eating the entire time.
Nice.
Because I'm trying to get in a decent amount of food here before it's my turn to start talking, And so all it is her talking and me eating at the bottom. It was so, at first I was like, really? That's the clip she picked out to put on the Instagram?
Nice. There you go. So you can record anywhere, right?
Her podcast should be called Gooly Gooly Gotcha.
Or Gotcha by the Ghoulies.
Gooly Gooly Gotcha.
Gotcha by the Ghoulies.
And Ganguza.
Okay, so I found the file here. Have a listen to this. See what you think.
All right, let's talk cravings. You know the feeling. It's 11 p.m. and your stomach's louder than your TV. You think, I'll just have a snack. Nah, mate, you're heading to KFC, aren't ya? I mean, who can resist that crispy finger-licking chicken? It's like they put something in it, right? No, seriously, that stuff's addictive. Don't get me started on the chips. You ever tried to eat just one? Impossible. They should come with a warning label. KFC, when the craving hits, you know where to go. And don't worry, we've all been there. Twice this week.
So his name's Drew James, and he's just, we just, and that was sort of, coming back to playing on, their strengths and weaknesses. His strength was obviously acting, so we wrote a bunch of scripts. That was obviously a really acting one, but we did some where he could still use those acting skills, but it was more of a voiceover. And it just worked really well. So, it
did, man. It really captured that, being in a nightclub and doing a comedy act.
Well, see, it was all in the way we did it because he came here to record. So I just grabbed an SM58 for that spot, grabbed an SM58 and just let him go for it, so he could just act. That's all he had to think about.
That's smart.
Yeah, absolutely. So he was just he could just get into that acting thing, and that's what it was. And obviously, being on a 58, you don't have to try and make that nightclub sound. You've already sort of halfway there.
You've got it.
You know. So it was nice.
That's what you get with a good demo producer who's creative and thinks outside the box and comes up with interesting ideas instead of like a formula where it's like each time this is what we do, this is how we do it. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Like, no, let's try something new. That was really cool.
Yeah, no, it's good fun. Yeah. So and well done to Drew too, because he was good fun to work with. And I haven't spoken to him, but I hope he's got somewhere with it, because he did a really good job.
Well, he drew on his acting skills.
Oh, see, there you go. Why aren't you writing?
Well, I'm going to go down to KFC, mate.
Well, that was fun. Is it over?
The Pro Audio Suite, with thanks to Tribooth and Austrian Audio. Recorded using Source Connect. Edited by Andrew Peters and mixed by Voodoo Radio Imaging, with tech support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and join in the conversation on our Facebook group. To leave a comment, suggest a topic, or just say g'day, drop us a note at our website, theproaudiosuite.com.